What's Good podcast.
Hey, ladies and gents, this is your girl, Brianna Javon with What's Good podcast season 4, and we want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. As you guys know, we do not have interviews. Instead, we have genuine conversations, so let's get into it. Today, well, if you've been keeping up, we are doing retail companies this season. This is what you guys voted for, so we're going to keep this thing going. And we have the owners of ProBlk Health Vitamins, and that's Dr. Kaleena and Darian McDaniel. How are y'all today?
We are, I am wonderful.
I'm great as well.
I don't want to say we or anything.
Yeah,
but
I'm good too, baby. I'm
We're
good too.
good.
There's a lot of smiles. I feel great energy. This is awesome. All right, so as you guys know, we always start off with icebreakers. This is to, kind of get ready for the conversation. Some people be like, I might just relax. It's going to be okay. So let's get started with the icebreakers.
I'm ready.
So for Darian, I have, how does being an entrepreneur affect your relationships with your family and or friends?
Well, since my wife is my business partner, that makes it good. So she kind of understands the business, so it's kind of easy to talk about the business. With friends and family, trying to understand the hard work of an entrepreneur and that you don't have a lot of time. So can't answer phones and texts throughout the day because, a lot of people work 9 to 5, and after 5, they're like chilling, watching TV, and we're kind of still going. So trying to make sure we'll talk to you on the weekend or we'll talk to you then. So just really trying to manage that time and have them understand that an entrepreneur job is pretty much 24/7.
All right. And for you, Dr. Kaleena, if you would never have to work again, would you and why?
Perfect.
I know, right?
It depends on how you define work, right? So I'm a surgeon, right? And I've been a surgeon for over 10 years. So my main 9 to 5 is a pretty structured, high anxiety kind of profession that definitely has its rewarding attributes. I get to see people do better and feel better and talk to them and counsel them and meet a lot of people. But I'm still working for someone else, which makes the work a little bit grueling sometimes, more than it has to be, because you have the pressures of being a physician that happens, I think, no matter where you are. But half of my everyday life is dealing with administration and C-suite and paperwork and headaches that I think sometimes make the job less enjoyable. So if I could get away from that, potentially at any moment, I'd be like, you know what, I'm done with it. But I would want to work on my terms, So like, how can I help people the way that I want to help people without all the red tape? Because I don't think that I'm at a point in my life where I want to do nothing. So if you enjoy what you do, technically it's still working, but it doesn't feel like a chore. Does that make sense? So I can set my alarm clock to whenever I wanted to set it and talk to people when I wanted to talk to them. And turn off my phone when I wanted to turn off my phone. 5 minutes ago, I would have done all that. But that's just not kind of realistic. But that doesn't mean that I just want to, sit on the couch every day and do nothing. I don't think I'm at that point. So it just depends on what you define work as. I want to be a productive, responsible adult in society that's making it better. But I want to do it in a way that gives me full passion. Now it's like, oh, some days cool, and some days are like, I can leave all of this 10 minutes ago and not feel bad about it. It's like I keep a pink slip in my wallet at all times, just in case somebody says something funny. And I'd be like, you know what, today's the day. Yeah. But until then, I will be at work tomorrow at 8:30 in the morning until.
I love that. It just reminded me, it was a quote, and I'm probably going to say it wrong. If you do your passion, you're really not working. It was something like that. And I was like, you know what? That is the truth, because you're going to do something that fulfills you, that gives you joy, to where it's pretty much you just going with the flow. Yes, some days are going to be, dang, this happened or this happened, right? But at the end of the day, this is something that you want to do versus being forced because people are over your shoulder and you got to check in and things of that nature. So
Absolutely.
I definitely get it. So thank you guys for sharing. All right, so let's get into our genuine conversation.
Okay.
Usually I started off with who is the guest. So whomever wants to go first, who is Dr. Kaleena or who is Darian? Whoever wants to start.
You can go, baby.
Ladies first, sure. So, as I mentioned before, I'm a bariatric or weight loss surgeon. So I do surgery for patients or for people who suffer from morbid obesity. And it's not for cosmesis. Weight loss is a cool side effect, but it's really for the health benefits. So getting rid of high blood pressure and diabetes and sleep apnea and all that stuff. I do some general surgery, but that's kind of like the majority of my career. And I went to Howard, I live in Atlanta. So I'm just been around a lot of African American, or should I say people of color in terms of healthcare workers. So I really think it's weird when a lot of people come from like as close as Tennessee and are like, oh my God, you're the first Black female surgeon I met. I was like, huh? I know like 10, but like I said, I went to the Mecca and I'm in Atlanta and I'm from New York. So to me, that's my everyday, but it's really, really rare. Less than 2% of surgeons in the US are persons of color, but specifically African Americans. So it's really weird to get outside of my Atlanta bubble because I feel like just one of many, but it's very, very, very rare. So on top of that, I'm also in the military, and I do surgery. I'm a surgeon. I mean, I'm a soldier first, but when I deploy, that's what they use me for, is to be like a surgeon. Um, no, so that's like a second job. And then ProBlk Health is the other job, which is, I think it's the coolest of all the jobs I do because it really feels like we're making a difference on a much bigger level than just individuals that I can touch or talk to. So overall, I mean, that's who I am. I wear a lot of hats. But at the end of the day, I was born Kaleena, and all the other stuff are just things that I do. And I feel like as a person, what I want, why I feel so passionate about this company is that it makes me sad to see us African Americans as a people, as a community, really just getting dogged out, but not even getting dogged out by everybody else, getting dogged out by ourselves, by what we put on social media, what we think is okay, what we glorify. And I feel like we're way too dope for that. Like, it's like I see it and I'm like, y'all little knuckleheads really on, Instagram, and you think all you got is shaking your bottom and talking nasty and flexing. It just is like there's so many things bigger in life, with health being the most important thing, and that's kind of like, I think, the center of who we are, but that's what kind of motivates me in almost all of the things that I work with, in terms of just like putting health as kind of a pinnacle. Obviously your God and family, but individually, without your health,
You can't do much.
you can't do nothing.
That's it.
Can't do much, baby. That's right.
And you?
Well, I'm Darian McDaniel, and I'm from St. Louis originally. Moved to Atlanta, and I went to Morehouse, and graduated from Morehouse. Traveled a little bit and worked in a couple of different places, but Atlanta's my home. I've been an executive for marketing for C-level for 20 years or so, which I really enjoyed, learned a lot. And now I'm pretty much the CEO of ProBlk Health, which is kind of a passion of both of ours. And so day-to-day operations for ProBlk Health, from marketing to branding to communications to everything you can think about for running a business, is kind of my day-to-day now. And just excited about the company, excited about where we're going, and excited to be actually making a difference. Not trying to make a difference no more, but making a difference for health in our community. So that's me.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing. So I want to start from the very beginning, right? We can't know where we are until we start from the past. So how did you guys meet? Tell us a story on how did you guys meet?
You do the story the best. I'll let her ride with it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna give the short, clean version of it, right? So, 2012, 9 years ago on my birthday, my office at the time took me out to Dugan's, which is a sports bar here in Atlanta, for my birthday. And then he was there by himself watching, I don't know, some basketball game. And his table was next to our table. And he's like, you know, talking to us, blah, blah, blah. And then all of my people left and it was just me and him. So then it was like midnight. So now it's literally my birthday. And he's like, so what you want to do? And I was like, because I just kind of moved to Atlanta. So I was like, you know, feeling my drink that he had bought me. And then, you know, he was like, do you want to go to the strip club? Not that I'm glorifying that, but Atlanta's full of strip clubs, you know?
Right.
So why not? You know, okay. So we went to the strip club and just had a good old time. And then we dated off and on, and then more off than on, and then more off and then on. And then we ran into each other like at a New Year's Eve party, and then it was more off. And then we got together at a Halloween party like 2 or 3 years later. And then it was like no time had passed. You know, it was like we just like something kept bringing us together.
Yeah.
Despite
absolutely.
all his trifling and you know all the goofy, he knew he knew where it was, and then
oh my goodness.
and then we just kind of like made it work. And then I think the longer we were together, we really saw just kind of how we fit like a puzzle. You know, I think it's very rare when you find someone that is genuinely your friends, like genuinely like we could kick it, like we could be in like a box with nothing but a marker, and we gonna find a way to turn that box up. And it's nice to have somebody that on every level you really know them, you know they have your back, and like it continues, we just continue to get closer and grow because we really at our core just really care and love about each other past like physical attributes and all that stuff. Like it's a real, almost like a soul relationship. It's really cool.
I agree.
I love soul relation. I haven't heard that one. You know, they usually say
I'm so used to too. Be like, yeah, I'm in a soul relationship. Yeah. That's really what it is. It's just like it's so easy. I think that's a good word for it. It's so easy, and it's just because of that soul connection. So I agree.
Yeah, I can see the I just love it. Okay. So who came up with the idea first for ProBlk Health? And with that being stated, how did that conversation go?
Well, when we got married, to tell you the story, when we got married, we said we were going to do something to give back to the community. And we didn't know what that was going to be. I had been successful. She was successful, but I felt like I just never gave back. And that was something that was like inside of me, that was a passion. And I said, you know, let's try to make this actually part of our wedding vows to give back to the community. And so we kind of, you know, went for a little bit, and then we're kind of thinking of things that we could do, and, you know, donating and giving money to different causes. And then when we got married, we kind of, you know, when you live with somebody, you spend more time with them. When they come home, you experience their job a lot more than when you're in separate households. And so she would come home frustrated all the time because she worked in primarily Black hospitals and areas on that condition of health of Black people. And she would really come in upset. She was just like, we're just not doing the bare minimum, you know, to take care of ourselves. And, you know, we're using the emergency room as a doctor's visit. You know, it's just minimal healthcare maintenance, you know, and we're waiting to the last minute. And it was just so frustrating for her. And, you know, one day I was working and she was trying to talk to me about it. And I was like, do I have to hear about Black people not being healthy again today?
Yeah.
And she said, you damn right.
Yeah.
And then I said, you know what? You so ProBlk Health. And then that's kind of how the name stuck. And I was like, that's kind of got a ring to it. And so we said that, you know, maybe we can do a nonprofit, you know, to give back to the community. So we started looking into that, and we found out, there were a lot of nonprofits already out there that were actually doing stuff about health in the community, but they just didn't have the financial resources. And so once we figured that out, we were like, what can we do to change that? And, we kind of let it slide for a little bit. And then I was watching a Shark Tank episode, and it was a company that sold beach towels, and each one that they sold, a percentage would go back to clean up the ocean for marine life. And I was like, if they can do it for fish, we can do it for Black people, right? And
That's right.
and so we were like, we need to come up with something. So we were like, T-shirts, all these things. And then one day she had came with some information from the CDC, and it stated that 92% of African Americans are deficient in vitamins and minerals. 92%. And I was like, man, we need to do a vitamin company, but make it geared towards our community. Cool, fun, cool names, and just be straight out about it. Like ProBlk Health, promoting health in the Black community. That's what we're all about. And so we started the brand, we came up with good names and concepts. And one of the key factors of it is 50% of our net profits will go back to nonprofits that focus on eradicating health disparities in the Black community. So it's a way to get yourself healthy by also giving back to the community, all in one opportunity. So that's kind of the story of how it started.
It's beautiful. So when you guys decided, as you mentioned, we're thinking about t-shirts, we're thinking about different ideas. When it came to vitamins, what did the research look like when creating the product itself?
Well, it was a lot of stuff out there. What we
Mhm.
kind of learned is it's hard to get all the FDA approvals and, all the things that you need. And it was a lot, it was a bigger bite than we thought,
Mhm.
because you have to get all the seals, approval for organic. It's a lot of things in it and a lot of money.
Mhm.
Um, and then what us really, giving 50% back. And that was kind of our strategy of marketing as a growth, with the company. We really couldn't go get a traditional loan in any of those things, because that's a business model that most banks and companies are not interested in. So we had to fund it all on our own. And so it was a real big leap of faith on both of us to say, is our community going to even be receptive? It's like, it's nothing that you can really do. You can kind of mock up a t-shirt and put it out there and see if people like it. But then, you really got to have the formulas and all the stuff down. So it was kind of like, let's jump out there. So I think that was the hardest thing, just really that leap of faith. What do you think, babe?
I think that was the most technical piece, but I think when you break it down to, okay, so we decided vitamins. So like I talk to people every day about what to eat, what not to eat. Are you taking your vitamins? Are you not taking your vitamins? And a lot of people of all races and ethnicities and backgrounds, but particularly us, if it don't taste good, look good, smell good, feel good, rub you on the shoulder, slick your edges, we don't want no part of it. Like we're so fickle, and we put pure enjoyment and instant gratification ahead of health and like future benefits. So everything is, oh, I don't take vitamins because they don't taste good, or I don't like doing something every day and all this thing. So I think part of our research was also, what are the obstacles? What are the barriers that keep us from wanting to do something that has long-term benefits? And we had to focus on tasting. Gummies are a big part of our brands, because like anything else, if you don't enjoy doing it, the odds of you doing it for any length of time is likely not going to happen. So we had to do something that not necessarily was like it's candy or it's a treat, but it had to be pleasing to a point where it wasn't a turn off, and you knew, okay, I'm doing this for myself and I don't mind doing it, and it tastes good. Or it's not, there can't be really any turn off to make it something that people want to do, because it's not taking it once, it's not taking it twice, it's not taking it for a week. What can you do? What will you do every day for the rest of your life that's going to benefit you in the long term? So that was a big part of our research, was what are the reasons why people don't do what they're supposed to do? So that's why we had to figure out the taste of something. That's why we had to try to work on, and he's really good at like, what is a cool name? So it's not about being gimmicky, but like I said, we got to feel it. Like, oh, that's lame. Oh, I don't like it. Oh, why is it gray? It's like, it sounds silly and it's not stupid, but it's stuff that once you break down the psychology of it, you have to appeal to that part of how we exist in this universe.
Yeah.
It has to touch something in you that is like, oh, I like that. Even though what's in it, is really healthy for you, but because you like the color, or because it brings out nostalgia, or because you can relate it to your grandmama's mama, it's got to be something that draws you to something. And that's what we did to kind of like relate to the Black experience.
Absolutely.
Something that is for us, by us. Because you go on the shelf, how many things speak to you as a Black person? You might smell a vitamin, but oh, I see this blonde hair lady. Oh, I see some stick figure. Or I don't see nothing, just some pills sitting on there, some fruits and vegetables. That don't move me. But my beautiful sister, or not your mama's greens. Most people got a grandmama who make them some greens, and it's just something that kind of like, again, it's that appeal. What is going to be something that someone can relate to, that they enjoy enough to be able to do it consistently? So I think that was more of the psychological people marketing aspect. What can we do to make it appealing so people will want to invest in their health and want to join the movement? So it's kind of like figuring out that niche.
That was so true. Yeah, that's really good.
That is good. So I kind of want to back up just a little bit, because you guys made a point and my like bulb started going off. The importance of investing in yourself. Sometimes I feel like when I talk to different people, they're like, okay, I got to get this bank loan, or I got to get some donations. I got to get this, I got to get that. When certain times, as you just mentioned, sometimes you just got to start within your household or start within your community first, and then gradually get to getting loans and things of that nature. So if you guys taking that first step of, you know what, we may have to do this ourselves, what did that sacrifice look like?
Well, it was a financial sacrifice, because it was a lot of savings and stuff. We were really good savers, and we saved a lot of our money for retirement. We had a lot of stocks and those type of things, and so you had to liquidate some things, and that was a difficult choice. But we both had great credit. We actually didn't want to go into like credit card debt or anything, so we kind of used like real cash, to really kind of get it. And then I think it was a sacrifice, but I think for me, it was more about, are the people gonna feel it? Like it was one of the first times in my life that I didn't take I would say an educated risk, because it was other people's psyche or feeling involved. Everything else for me has always been calculated. This is what I'm going to do, and this is the information I have, and this is why. I'm dealing with 92% of not even taking vitamins. Just imagine you taking that in. You like, well, I got, you know what I'm saying? So, I got to sell to 8% of the people. I got to get these 92% of the people to like really understand it, which was another hurdle for us, because when we first started, vitamins, I don't need that. We have so many things in our mind and so many old tales about, I just eat this and I'm fine. I had a friend of mine, actually he is a friend of mine now, but he worked for me on some couple of rental properties. Every issue he had, he just said, I just need to eat more garlic. That was like his everything. Those kind of myths and wise tales, and the kind of the things that keep us in health disparities. We think we know everything. And I don't know why we think we have all the answers, and it's like the blood test is showing that you don't have the answers. When she's pulling blood, it's showing that we don't have the answers. When she's pulling blood, it's saying that we deficient. When she's pulling the blood, she's saying we got high blood pressure. We're saying we're pre-diabetic. So don't tell me what you know when the facts are saying something else. So that was kind of the hurdles. And unfortunately, the pandemic hit, but it made us realize how bad of health that we were in. That's what were dying at such a higher rate. It was like the flashlight is on. I always say, like, when the roaches are running around and you put the light on, it's like it's on now. Like, as now you see that you have an issue, and within the community. So I just think that, that was an unfortunate thing, but I think it kind of got us to think about, well, what am I doing? Am I walking? Am I running? Am I eating healthy? Kind of bringing those things to the forefront.
Thanks. And Dr. Kaleena, with you seeing it every day, as far as health, what was one thing that you were like, this has to be a part of ProBlk Health? Because you see it every day, you know what's going on, and you brought to the table, like, okay, whatever we do, this is one factor we have to take into consideration.
I think for both of us, it's more of the education, and the vitamins are like a vehicle that can do a number of things. It can literally help give you better health or support your health. But really it's about using it almost to start a conversation about, well, what is good health? What is preventative medicine? What does it mean to start to do things for your health before you bleed in, before hanging off, before we get to that point of extreme disease, which is where I see it. Like, and if you come to me, if they call me seeing the emergency room, it means that you don't pass the early stages of what's going on, and now it's like a big deal. But you don't go from I'm totally healthy to stage 4 anything overnight. It's a process, whether you ignored it, whether you didn't realize it, whatever the case is. But what we really want to drive home is you're not sick until you're sick. So let's start working on ourselves before we get sick, So I think the vitamins is a good way to have those conversations. Like, how do you support yourself while you still feel good, before the diabetes happens, before the high blood pressure happens, or even if you have some of these ailments, what are everyday things you can do to help support them to not get worse or to improve them with diet? So yes, you can take a supplement, but it's very difficult for most people to get everything that they need in the diet, whether it be because they can't afford it, whether it be because they don't have time, whether it be because our soil has been overworked. And even if you were vegan or vegetarian, just the stuff coming out the ground doesn't have the same amount of nutrients. Whatever the reason, but even eating better to add addition to the vitamin. So like I said, I do weight loss surgery, and people tend to need some kind of event. They need a spark to start kind of the domino effect of doing other things. So we say, okay, vitamins, let's talk about health. Let's talk about what's in the vitamins. Let's talk about different foods that have these vitamins in it to kind of support and be an adjunct. And a lot of people, you know what? I'm starting to take a vitamin. Let me start walking. Let me start taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Let me start, what else can people do? I mean, there's just so many things that usually once you do one thing, if you start to feel a little bit better, they think, well, what if I did something else? What if I cut out, I eat fast food 3 days a week. What if I cut to 2 days a week? What if I my soda? So it's the cumulative effect that helps your overall health. Just taking the vitamins. If you take the vitamins and you eat a Big Mac every day, and you get on a little scooter and you go everywhere, if you really think, I will not put no money to say that that's going to make you healthy. It's not. But it's all the things you do. This is like such a small piece of what we want everyone to do is how do you take care of your whole self? This is just one thing. So this conversation or makes you aware, health awareness, this you understand that mac and cheese is not a vegetable, which I have heard, and I'm not even being funny. It's really, it's comical, but it's sad because it feels like sometimes the lack of education and foundation that is passed on from generation to generation, But how do we bring it in a way that it doesn't sound overly medical or complicated? Because to me, it isn't. Everything can be broken down to meet somebody where they are. And you can't do what you don't understand. So let's break it down so you can understand it. Let's talk about things that don't cost a lot of money. What are things you can do in your neighborhood? What things you can do in your house? What are things that are better alternatives? Because it may not be perfect, but how can we do better? There's bad, good, better, best. Most people are never going to be best, especially We just don't have the support to be best yet. But we definitely do better. We definitely can, So it's about really understanding how do we increase our longevity, I think, not to make it political, but we are in a really strange political time where there's really on the forefront about how our country still feels about it. Not what, oh, they feel about us again, or we didn't know. They felt about us like this for over 400 years. It was as high in weird places, and now we're acting like, oh, it's so crazy. But it's gonna take group and community initiative and for us to work together. But how do we do it if we all sick? How the hell are you gonna stand out in a protest with a wood leg? How the hell are you on dialysis? Like, it doesn't make sense. So if you individually don't have the strength to go out and all you are healthy to be together, to be a group, and your group is your community, nobody can hear you, So if individuals are sick, the community is sick, and then we're going to be exactly where they want us to be, not able to do nothing. So it's like, it's so big, it really starts big. Like here, like this, me deciding to drink water over soda is a decision. Everything is a decision, but your decisions add up to mean so many things,
Yes, it does.
Sorry, I
I feel it.
No, that was good.
That
was good.
It's so true. It's so true.
It's just crazy how big it could be.
And it's like, we call it the ProBlk Health movement. That's kind of our thing, that is not just a vitamin company, it's a movement. And just our customers, and I call them our family, it's not even our customers, but just the responses. Thank you. I started doing this. I started doing that. It's just like every day, it just makes me feel so good, so many emails and Instagram messages about, I felt I had a lot of energy. I walked today. It's just like this whole vibe. I want to make a whole ProBlk Health. We talk about a ProBlk Health movement, this vibe for just health, and health and wellness. Because, if without health, you can't do anything. I always say this story, which is kind of sad, but I always think about Steve Jobs and all the money he had. What would he trade it all for? To be healthy and to still be here. Like, it's all the money, all the wealth, all the glam, all the cars, all the dresses, all the shoes, all the Jordans. They mean nothing if you can't wear them or can't be in them. So, that health, health over wealth, and that has to be like the focus, and so we can start to do that and keep this ball rolling. But it's it's an exciting movement, and we're looking forward to growing it even bigger.
Yes. Because I agree with that. If you don't feel good on the inside, then it's not going to come out. You're not going to look good. It's just going to mess up your whole day. Yeah. So I know my granny, when I was a little girl, you better start now. Go ahead, take them vitamins, girl. You better start now. And now that I'm older, I can appreciate those conversations because I'm seeing people my age that's looking 30, 40, 50 years old, and it makes a difference. And so my daddy always told, my family always put that in me. And that's why I'm glad that you mentioned community. Because as soon as I went to you guys' page, there's not a lot of pictures of y'all. It's more of the community saying how good the vitamins are, how good your products is. Support them. I'm just not doing it for my good, but my family is involved. And I appreciate it looking at the marketing plan, just looking at everything. I was engaged. I found myself in a wormhole, just looking at different stuff and reading the reviews and things of that nature. So I definitely love everything that you guys are doing, the ProBlk Health movement, because I feel like it starts in the household. If you don't get educated in the household, then how are you going to share that with other people? And then from there, like you mentioned, the domino effect. It won't go anywhere if we're being selfish with the knowledge, if we're being selfish with the resources. If we're going to be there for the community, you got to show up for the community. So I just love everything that you guys say.
Thank you so much. That just means the world to us. Absolutely. Because it's not about, people always say, well, why are you guys not always on? And, a lot of these business owners are always like, it's about the people, man. It's about the people. I mean, we come on every once in a while, but it's like, it's not about us. It's about the people. It's about everybody. It's about our community. So that's what we want to keep the focus.
All right, so I do want to get into the names. And just to name some, We have the mother, gut reaction, king essentials, queen essentials, and the list goes on.
Mhm.
How were these names created, and what was the inspiration behind them?
Well, I was just thinking about things that resonate with our community,
Mm,
well, the mother, which is our new apple cider vinegar gummy, and she's from New York, and she always say, "What's going on with your mother?" So,
And I'm like, I'm gonna call your mother.
yeah, it's
Accent right there.
yeah, I'm gonna call your mother. And then apple cider vinegar. We took a while to get it out, but we wanted it to have the mother, which is so important in apple
Mhm.
cider vinegar because it has the probiotics and the enzymes and stuff. So we call it the mother. King Essentials, the royalty line stuff, kind of the essentials, king essentials, queen essentials. Our kids is young royalty. So with that blood royal, we from royal bloodline, royal family. And then we got gut reaction kind of for our probiotics. And then we got sunny days for our vitamin D, which is very important in our community. I'm doing a public service announcement to get the vitamin D. We have very bad vitamin D deficiency. And then we have our kind of vegan multivitamin and minerals, which is a pill that's called Living My Best Life.
Mm.
So we can just kind of make the names kind of resonate cool and fun, but just to give a sense of pride, which we have, and just to make you feel good about something that's kind of cool. And then, it's cool to hold up on Instagram or online. I'm taking my King Essentials and I'm taking my Queen Essentials. So it's been really good. What do you think, babe?
No, I like, that definitely is why we did it. But just to like touch on again, like our original vitamins was the multivitamin, Queen and King Essentials and Young Royalty.
Okay.
And I think that why that was so important to us, because health, we talk about health, that's your most valuable asset, blah, blah, blah. But physical health is in conjunction with mental health,
Yeah.
is in conjunction with spiritual health.
Mhm.
And I think I think our community has lost its grounding and foundation in understanding that who we are is not necessarily from or demonstrates a reflection of our royal blood or where we were taken from.
Mm.
So we cannot let how the world sees us, treats us, what we accept to be. It's like we've forgotten. They have separated us so far from our queen and king heritage and our kingdoms, and we was owning and running and all this stuff. And
Oh.
now we're like the bottom of the totem pole, but
Mhm.
they deliberately did that. They deliberately wanted to get us as far from our thrones and our crowns as possible so that we would kind of kowtow and be a subdued servant or slave to them. And it's just and that's where we are. And I think we need to get back to our legacy greatness. You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
it just is like we're so dope. Like to think like it don't make no sense. It just doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? We don't get no wrinkles.
Mhm.
Like people pay mad money to
Don't they?
have our lips.
Mhm.
We out here feeling bad and thinking
Mhm.
that you can talk to us any kind of way or what?
And they kind of be us. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But it's like we really wanted to. Yes, it's the health piece, but we wanted to also have that underlying like you are important. You come from like royal blood. This isn't no Queen of England, Meghan Markle BS. We like, if Wakanda was a place, I swear to God, like that is like that could be us. You know what I mean? Like we're so
Mhm.
smart. We have all the attributes. We got we run high faster. We jump higher. Like what don't we dominate? But we
Yes, we do.
don't have access and we don't have power. So it's like if we understood that, if we believed in ourselves as much
Mhm.
as we were
Mhm.
meant to believe in ourselves based on our
Mhm.
birthright, you
Mhm.
can tell us nothing.
That's right.
Like, really?
Yeah.
I'm with you all day.
I see why you married her.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. Yes.
I mean, come on. Like, we're real talk.
Real talk all day,
It's
baby.
real. It's real. I love everything you said. I mean, you make me want to just figure out some things. Like, what can I do to make myself better? Okay. Come on, Queen. I love all of that. Okay, so now we're going to get into the storytelling portion of the podcast. To me, this is my favorite because I've noticed the guests, they go through like a self-reflection when they answer this question. And then I also hear people just being inspired by this portion. So with that being stated, the first half is, what is a high that you guys did as far as accomplishments or milestones, whatever the case may be? And you legit patted yourself on the back and was like, we did that. Once you took a step back and was like, okay, we made it happen. What was that moment and what did it look like?
That's a big reflection. It's saying just in general or with the business, or you just
In
saying
general, it could be life, it can be business, it can be marriage.
I'll let you go first then.
Okay. So, and I'm saying it from, I'm in the company, but Darian like he's the guts of it. He's the gears. He like literally like makes the company do what it does from like nothingness. Like I remember one of our first before pre-COVID like events, we went to I think like a Black Business Expo or something, and I dropped him off before I went to work, and we were literally like his bags for the vitamins was like brown lunch bags, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But that was like our first event, and we were just happy to get out there. So but he runs every aspect of the company. So I put input, I do the health stuff, we talk, all that stuff. But to me, when we like play catch up and I say, you know, hey, what's going on, what's new, because every day he's having a conversation with somebody. But to hear that companies are finding out about us and calling us, you know, like Amazon called us, Walmart is calling us, HEB and Central Market, we got opportunity, they found us, you know. And it's like to see it go from brown paper bags to companies that see products come and go all the time, understand business strategy, really see the potential and what it's really trying to do, to me is the high. You know what I mean? Because like I said, sometimes we're 2 shifts past the night. I'm at work all day, he's here, I come home, he's like, I'm getting into bed, I gotta get up at 2 a.m. You know? So, you know, when we do catch up and I hear about all the stuff that's been happening, I'm like, who is you? You know what I mean? Because it's so weird to know we were in brown paper lunch bags, and now we're at Central Market in Texas. We're in Pond City Market down the street. We're Amazon. You know what I mean? These are talks, and it's not about like that being the be all end all, but the world seeing it. When for us, it was just a conversation. It was just an idea, like, hey, let's do it. But to see it, when we can order some Alaska, I said, who the hell black in Alaska? Like, we should have invited her to Alaska, girl.
That's so good.
You know, but I mean, but because it's like it's everywhere. It is, you know, and I give so much credit to his determination and his like his strive and his drive for like perfection and excellence. And you see so many Black companies that think because they're Black, that should be good enough for you to support it. I call BS on that. If I spend money on something, white, Black, green, yellow, I want good customer service and I want good product. And just because you're Black, if you giving me some trash, if you have a bad attitude, I'm not going to continue to keep supporting you because you're Black. You know what I mean? So I think his business background has like elevated his expectation of what he wants, because he's a Virgo, and if it ain't perfect, it ain't happening. Yes. So he puts what he would want out of a business into other people, if that makes sense. So to me, the high is like, dude, you went from a brown paper lunch bag, yo, to like, it's so big. It's awesome. I'm sorry. It's like, and that's just my thing from like, you know, I'm inside, but sometimes I feel outside, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
that.
Appreciate that, babe. I appreciate that. I guess for me too is just the people, the
Mhm.
people who like, like you said, starting from that brown paper bag, and I went to an event, and I'm not knowing how anybody's gonna feel about it. I got these vitamins. I haven't shown one of them sold any of them, and I got these, and I'm at this business function, which is a business function really at the Black Chamber of Commerce is where it was. And then but then this reception, people like, oh, this is cool, and then it just growing, and just every day when the people purchase, and I wake up in the morning, I'm just so appreciative, and it makes me feel like, man, I want to, like you said, provide that excellence. I want to go beyond, and I want to just really make a difference. My
Mhm.
vision is really just, I want to get to the point where people are really buying, and we're investing millions of dollars in our community.
Yeah.
Me, I would like to have like health centers in our community. Like me, I
Mhm.
see it so big, like being able to like um help ourselves.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes you like may post something. Like I was thinking about Facebook ad one time, and it was this white gentleman like, oh, this is racist, this is that, and why are you guys doing that? And I was saying, you don't want the tax money to go help us in healthcare. you know
Oh.
you don't want, you don't want us, you don't want to give no money, but then when we
Mhm.
trying to do something, so you just want us to wither way down. We trying to, it's just like, we have the health disparities, and we want to do
Mhm.
something about it. So I feel like, the millions of dollars we spend with these other brands and other healthcare brands and other vitamin brands, it's like, they should be a non-factor.
Mhm.
We should like be spending money to where it's like, okay, this is going to give back to my community. And so we're just really wanting to grow and set
Mhm.
an infrastructure to allow us to do that. And if that's retail, at least, and we're trying to really figure that out.
Mhm.
But just the everyday customer just give me the passion every day to strive. So that's what really does it for me. Because it's like, you almost know every name. I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I haven't seen that before. That's Tanya Harrison on the last, Tanya Hyatt. No, that's a different,
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
I'm so appreciative that people see and feel the vision. And now I just want to make the vision big, and make everybody feel proud of their purchase and be like, man, I had a part in doing that and making a change. So that's really where I'm at.
Beautiful. Okay, so on the other end of the spectrum, as you guys know, we have our highs, but we also have our lows. What was a low that you guys came across? Either if that's a hesitation or it made you question, should we move forward? Should we stop? Anything of that nature. What did that look like? And how did you push forward? Because of course we're here talking, right? So you guys are still doing it. So how did you guys persevere and keep it going and staying dedicated and disciplined?
Well, for me, when we initially launched, I mean, we had some positive feedback, but we had some negative feedback. Just when we talked a little earlier, the hurdle was really getting Black people to be serious about their health.
Yeah.
They wanted to spend $20 on a T-shirt,
Mhm.
versus our vitamin. We would be at events. I'm like, well, you're gonna buy just like something that's just instantaneous, and really trying to get us to overcome the stigma of, and I don't even know of a stigma, but taking the things for preventative health. And that
Mhm.
mindset was a little scary for me. I would say that was the scary part, because you go to an event and you talk to 10 people, and
Mhm.
6 out of 10 people are just like, well, vitamins don't work, or I don't need them. I eat health, but then, I eat vegetables. But then if you really got their diet, they ate some peas once a week. You know what I'm
They a
saying?
vegan. They a vegan with leather shoes on. Come on,
It
like
just don't go together.
silly
you,
stuff.
you know what I'm saying? So any kind of like hesitation, and so I realized, like she said, it was a lot about, education as well. So we try to focus on that, but that was a little discouraging that was like, taking our health seriously, and I think and that's why I said that I hate the pandemic, but I've seen a change. It's like if we in Atlanta, we have the Beltline, and like it's so many more Black people outside walking. It's so many. It's just like so hard when we go out there. We're like, man, this is like dope. They're walking, they're taking classes, and they're doing those things. So I think that the mentality is kind of changing. So that's very hope. But I would just say that was a big obstacle to overcome, because then you're dealing with such, just in the business mind, you never want to put yourself in a position where it's just a small group of people. It's like I could have thought of many brands. I think I've thought of a whole bunch of things where I could have painted a broad brush, to have me so much more of a customer base. You're only dealing with, 13% of the population. Just imagine that you're only dealing with 13% of the population, and 92% of that population is not taking their health seriously. That's scary. Think about putting all your money. That's a bad investment.
When you think about the numbers, yeah.
It's a bad numbers investment, but it's really, and that's what the banks were thinking. And that's when we went for grant funding, like, oh, what they were thinking, but I'm like, I had faith, and it was like the passion of what we really wanted to do shine through. And, we weren't gonna, we lost everything in the business. We weren't gonna, be starving, but it was just like the passion overrode. I would say the passion for the business and the passion of what it could be overrode that fear for me.
Love it. Anything, Dr. Kaleena? She looking like
What, baby?
It's gonna sound kind of like I'm sensitive, right? I play tough, but I'm like soft as baby poop on the inside. And a big part of this company, was I'm kind of the face of the brand, and my pictures on the bottle, and a lot of the ads have me, and it is my goal to do more actual education and post about it. But people, like, social media has made a lot of people who are just mean and bullies and just say things that have no rhyme, reason, or merit. And like, because I was in Kuwait for a few months last year on a deployment. So I would be, be looking at stuff. And some of the people were saying, and I was like, man, I don't want to go on here no more. I don't want to look anymore. So he'll handle a lot of stuff, because one, he knows I'll either react and say something that doesn't make it better, or it'll just make me hurt my feelings unnecessarily. Because at the end of the day, these people I don't know them. They don't know me.
Right.
The logical me says it doesn't mean anything. But I think when we're talking about entrepreneurship, when we're talking about business, you're never going to be at a point where everybody likes what you're doing, is on board with what you're doing. And you kind of have to see it for what it is, and not let those few people who just want to be jerks for the sake of being jerks kind of put you in a place where you stop doing what is the bigger cause and the bigger reason, So for me, it's like sometimes I get really hesitant, or I haven't done as much kind of putting my face out there and having these discussions, because all I think about what somebody gonna say or do, because I know I'm sensitive, but I'm trying to not be. But for me, it's like seeing. It's different when you see bad comments on other people's stuff.
Right.
Like, oh,
they're a baby.
But when they say it to you, it's like it hit different. You know what I mean? And you're not that person, but it's like they don't even know me like that to say that. And it's like it just sits in your head, and you question. You kind of doubt yourself. So I think. And I think the way that the world is going, almost every business, a big portion of the marketing strategy is going to be social media based. I don't think it's avoidable.
That's true.
And I think you have to be understanding too that there is going to be some negativity that just comes with social media in general. You can have the cutest baby on there. Somebody gonna call it ugly.
Yeah.
Just
Unfortunately.
you know what I mean? But once I think that you understand it and take it for what it is and push past it, it's not as much of a deterrent, but I think you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready. The bigger the platform you put yourself on, the more followers you have, the more ads that you put out, the more reach that you have. You're gonna have people who have nothing better to do just to say something to say it, but that shouldn't be something that deters you from doing what you know is your passion, is your goal, is your mission, if that makes sense. So, and he be having to be like, why are you acting like that? Dude, because I'm real sensitive. But I think that I'm trying to do better. I'm still sensitive about it, but I have to like not care as much about it. So I think that was like, it became real when people started like saying something about me like they knew me. And I was like,
I don't know you from Adam.
it feels weird. It is,
it's just haters
feels
out there.
weird.
You don't
No,
have to worry
and
about
I know. I know, but it's like, I think that's something that if you're not prepared for it,
Right.
it's something that could easily derail you if you don't understand, because I think it's unavoidable. I think you have to have a social media presence in order to get whatever it is you're doing to the eyeballs, to the ears, to the the honeypots of who you're trying to reach to get what you want, but with that, it's going to be a lot of jerks, period.
Yeah.
And with that being stated, as you guys mentioned, some lessons and things of that nature that you guys have gone through during this journey, right? What would be, and just advice you would give somebody that's listening? Let's say they may be going through what you just mentioned, Dr. Kaleena. I'm putting my face out there. I'm kind of nervous. Should I do it? Should I not do it? Or somebody that's listening that wants to start a product, but I don't know if I should make it happen, or I don't have the investment and I don't have the resources. What would be just some advice that you could give somebody that's listening right now? And it could be anything.
Well, for me, I would just say, educate yourself. I think YouTube is like, it's like such a good resource that people just, it's like underutilized. It's like a college. You can learn anything. You can find anything. I knew nothing. I built a website. I did the design, I did trademarking. I did all that myself because, I'm thinking of this investment and I was going to do as much as I can for myself. So learn for yourself before you do anything. And also another thing is learn how to do something before you pay somebody to do something.
Yes.
And that is so what fair market value is, right? So when I went into doing a trademark and realized it's only $250 something to do a trademark, and it's like 3 steps and you just fill it out, versus you pay an attorney $1,500, $2,000, and then you realize that there's nothing to it because you didn't take the time to figure it out. But even if you're gonna have somebody do your social media, learn social media so you can know what to pay them and what that's worth. If not, you're just going to get numbers. So try to do as much as you can so you know as much. And so you know how, even when you're delegating, because you know what it takes, it's just like, you need to do this or that. And I know how much time it takes. So don't call me and say it took this and that because I've done it, So I think that's good advice. And don't be scared to fail. You're going to fail. Everything is not going to be perfect, but it's and be disciplined. It's a phrase I like, and I'll let you go after that. Be disciplined. So there's 2 types of pains. There's a pain of discipline and a pain of regret. You're going to get pain. So you got to decide which one.
I like it. I like it. Y'all are just an amazing pair. This is exciting.
Go ahead.
For me, and I think this applies not only to business, but I tell my patients this all the time. Whenever you do something that's going to be challenging, that's going to be difficult, that's going to be out of your previous experiences, remember your why, because you're going to have good days, but there's going to be days where you don't feel like doing it. You feel like giving up. You kind of let your task slip, you fall behind. And as soon as you get to that point where you're like, I just don't feel like it. What's the point? Remember why you started. And for some people, it's going to be a very frivolous why, and that may be the end of your journey. But if your why is generational wealth, if your why is to make a better situation for your family, if your why is to improve yourself, if your why is to help your community, if your why is to stunt on these hoes, whatever. I'm saying, whatever your why is, okay, that needs to motivate you, because that typically doesn't change. It can get enhanced, but when it's hard, why did you start this, right? And make that give you the fire to get back on it, because it's not going to get easier. It just won't. But have it fuel you to get past, like I said, that pain. It's the pain of discipline, but it's your why that drives you and push you, so you can get to the point, and then you can realize your why. Your why has come into fruition to what it is. Now it's your reality, and you can enjoy it. But I think sometimes it's easy to get discouraged and sidetracked. But when you feel at your bottom, like, why do you do any of this to this point? If it's really a bunch of fluff, then it's not a big deal. It's probably going to dissolve anyway. But if it's worth something, you'd be like, all right, let me get the hell on up. Because what you say, it takes a bold man who lay in the bed. What is it?
I forgot what it said.
It was something like, you got to be a bold somebody to lay in the bed and you ain't got no money in the bank. Why the hell you bold? You know?
Yeah, that's bold.
So, it's like, at some point, like, what matters to you? And use that to push you to do whatever the heck you is trying to do.
Yes, indeed. All right, you guys. So what is upcoming for ProBlk Health? What can we look forward to?
Well, we're growing. We just launched 2 new products. You talked about, we had the apple cider vinegar gummies, and then we had a regular probiotic in a capsule form, and now we did a gummy form. Then we're working on some diabetic stuff, blood pressure, prostate, some of the ailments that were in our community. So we're working on some formulas for that. We're working on prenatal. So we're working for some of those, and then we're trying to really figure out, a retail strategy of what we want to do. Of course, we love everybody to come to our site and just buy from us, but we may have to get that reach to get the volume of money that we want to do to give back to the community. So it's just like trying to find out those strategic partners that work best for the brand and keep the integrity of the brand. And so we're trying to figure that out. And those are kind of the next move, just having it more accessible to more people. A lot of people shop online, but, a lot of people don't shop online. So trying to figure out, how do we get into, because it's one of those things that if people understand the mission, they see the product, they see the good reviews. We got hundreds of great reviews. It's kind of a no-brainer. It's like, it's a win-win. It gives back to the community. It makes you healthier. Like, if you can't get behind that, then, so really just trying to get our reach going. So those are really the next thing, and just engage with our community more. We want to do some live events and those type of things once the pandemic is over, and health fairs and health events, and also work on our strategy with our nonprofits. We're also considering a nonprofit arm of our own, and get behind that to go out in the community. A lot of the food deserts and places like that, we want to try to get some fresh produce in. And so it's a big scope, but it's step by step, but we're really excited about it.
And with that being stated, how can people purchase? How can people reach out to you guys? Website, social media handlers, anything as far as communication? For people that's listening, how can they support?
ProBlkHealth.com. ProBlk is spelled PROBLK health.com. And then Instagram is at ProBlk, PROBLK _health. We're on LinkedIn at ProBlk ProBlk_Health, Twitter at ProBlk_Health. Facebook has to be all together, so it's at ProBlk Health all together. And just go online, check us out. Hit us up if you have any questions. We're very responsive. We got email, text message, instant message, whatever, any kind of message you gets to us, and give us a try, and then we'll give you a discount code we'll leave for you to give your community, so they can. So we'll make that code for you, and you can share that. But we're excited about it. Check us out. At least follow us, and give us a shot. And we got great products. They're very good. They're top quality. Some of the most premium brands, better than what you're getting in the stores. They don't realize a lot of these brands are cheap. But if you look at the back, it don't have everything you're supposed to have in it. You're just looking at price. But the old adage goes, you get what you pay for. People come to us and be like, oh, the gummies are this and that, but they're plant-based. They're not made with gelatin. We don't have any pork bones. We don't have any of that mess, any kind of filler, so they're not going to be $7.99 gummies that you find at, some of these stores. They're going to be very premium, very good, and they're going to be good for you. And we have all the certificate of analysis. We share all of that. So just give us a shot and you'll be happy.
And I saw that you guys have a program for ambassadors.
Yeah, and we're working
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we're working on that, and we're trying to find a cool name for it. We're thinking health revolutionaries. It's kind of kind of on my mind, and really have a robust program in a community that kind of has a newsletter and make everybody excited. So you can sign up now, and then we're looking at launching in the next couple of months, kind of a ambassador affiliate program, a little bit of both, but that way you're able to join the movement, share the movement, and also being able to not only make some money, and also share, but you're also giving back. So you gotta realize every purchase that happens. So it's kind of a feel good, and you also can grow your network, spread the word. So we're very excited about that launch, but we want to make it cool. I kind of wanted to launch it earlier this year, but I want like a cool newsletter, a vibe, some nice t-shirt. I want just the bomb. Like, I'm a health revolutionary. What are you?
Did you see Judas and the Black Messiah? Did you see it?
Yes, I did. On HBO Max. I loved it. I definitely enjoyed it.
A revolutionary.
Yeah. Fred, yes.
We all need to have that passion is for change. What is not what should be, in a lot of respects. So revolution means to change. How do we change where we are to elevate us to like the next level?
I love it. I'm so excited. Well, we're wrapping it up. We just have one more segment, and it's called Motivational Moment. This is a quote or a Bible verse, anything that sparks my eye. I just bring it on the show to share with my audience, to get your thoughts, get my thoughts, and just have a little brief coming together situation. So today it is a verse. Blessed is the one who endures trials. And this is James chapter 1, verse 12. When I first read this, I thought about the test of testimony, because if you're just going through life and you're just scared because you don't want to fail, I feel like you're not going to progress or grow. I feel with every journey, you're going to be knocked off to go on a different route to get to your destination, only because it's going to make you stronger. So I feel like those are where the biggest blessings are. I feel like those are where the biggest gems and the biggest jewels that you'll receive from God, right? And so when I first read that, I was just thinking about my personal journey, because it hasn't been easy. Some days I'm like, yeah, girl, let's get up, let's make it happen. And some days I'm like, you know what, I quit. Let me go ahead and put in some job applications, right? But I have to understand, with those thoughts, it's either going to make me or break me. So I have to continue to move forward, because I know what I'm going through is going to be a testimony for somebody else. So with that being stated, what do you guys think about that verse?
I mean, I think that you said it. It's just that, the gems and the best things of life, you got to work for, and they're just It's just anything. You're working out, you want muscles, you gotta work. It's like the same thing. It's like so constant in life. It's just the things that are great for you, they're hard to do, you know.
Mhm.
And so just sticking with it. I think that unfortunately, the young people today with social media and kind of sharing their lives, they're so worried about what everybody else thinks. And that's just so hard. It presses on them so much. So, just follow your mission, your goal, get blinders on, and work like a miner, work in the door. You don't have to let everybody know everything. You ain't got to tell mama, brother, sister, I'm about to start that, because once you start telling everybody, they
Mhm.
gonna tell you can't do it, or all the reasons why you can't do it. So just stay in alignment, and because the last thing you want to do is to be old or be at a point where you're about to pass or whatever, and you be like, man, I should have tried that.
Mhm.
That's like the biggest. That's like that sucks.
Yeah.
So what about you, babe?
I'm gonna keep it short because I know I could talk a lot. But what that verse reminded me of is I had a patient that I saw maybe last week or whatever, and she's trying to start the weight loss surgery process. And she was saying that she wants to be selfish because apparently a lot of people in her life are always pulling from her, and she wants to take her life back. It's time for me to be selfish and do what's
Mhm.
best for me. And I said, you know what? I don't think what you're doing is selfish.
Mhm.
I think what you're doing in terms of trying to better yourself, trying to be more disciplined, trying to do what's hard and what's not innate to you is actually selfless. Because what selfish is sitting on the couch and watching TV and eating your Popeyes every day. Selfish is on the weekends, instead of going out and maybe taking a walk, you just want to sleep all day and watch Netflix. Selfish is, I want ice cream today, and I want ice cream tomorrow, and I want cake the next day. Fulfilling that immediate gratifying need is selfish behavior. The selfless thing is doing what's hard so that you can better yourself and then be there for everybody else that you love and who loves you. That's what's selfless. Selfless is doing the work. It's not comfortable. I don't feel like getting up. I don't feel like cooking. I don't feel like meal prepping. But what is the gain? The gain is you feel better. The gain is you have a kid who's 6 months old and you want to be there for them to graduate. That's selfless. Selfish is like, man, let me just do Cheetos and hot dogs. That's because that's what you want right now. That's one of the most
Mhm.
selfish things you could do. So to
Yeah.
me, selflessness is actually doing some things that are hard, that are uncomfortable, but
Mhm.
you gain so much. You know what I mean? You're able to give more of yourself to everyone and everything because you're doing the work on yourself to be better, you know?
Mhm.
So it was just like when she was talking to me, and I was like, really, don't even think about it like that. Selfish
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
what you want to do right then, it's going to get you nowhere. To me, that's selfish.
Mhm. I am just excited. You guys gave so many nuggets. We had a whole educational history program. I am just super, super thankful. We are wrapping it up. Did you guys have any last thoughts or anything?
No, just thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's just good people like you that are passionate about that. It's just like it's just what it's just what everything's all about. And the fact that you are really with your platform trying to give back to other people. And so if it's anything that we can do or post or anything we can do to help you, that we're definitely on board for it.
Thank you guys so much. Well, you guys make sure if you're listening to support ProBlk Health, they gave you all the information you need, so there's no excuse. So if
Exactly.
you're listening to this morning, noon, evening, or night, thank you guys for tuning into another episode of What's Good podcast, and we'll see you guys later.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.